lettuce and tomatoes.
Lettuce indeed.
Let us these nuts.
Last,
Let us begin.
that's what I'm trying to do. Um, okay. Last we left off, a unforeseen circumstance led to the death of your brother, Sergei. Alex, desperate as you are, you throw caution to the wind and have decided to return to the Crimson Dawn, the criminal organization you used to work for. Before absconding from them, they had very meticulous ways of getting rid of mages, since they themselves seem not too keen on sorcery and nobility. It was this that first drew you to them, but on a certain mission, well into your years of service, already a few augments on your body, you found that your ideals don't completely coincide. And then you deviated from them. But with the lifeless Sergei that you cradle in your arms, Alexander, you rush through the city, hoping to find them, going back to the old headquarters that you know or thought they used to reside. Your search leads you to a unfamiliar place. The base that you sort of went back to, you found it abandoned. But you managed to, with clues that you pick up there, were able to trace them to their new base of operations after, I think, maybe even speaking with one of the Crimson Dawn that you might meet there when they go on their patrol routes and such. And this has led you to the Ivory Winery. Now, you don't know the significance of this place necessarily, only that if it's connected to the Crimson Dawn, nothing can come from it. The air is cold and dry. This dark, long hallway that you walk through, electrical lights at certain intervals illuminating the dark interior. As you walk, your boots click against the ground, reverberates in this empty space. And you continue walking and walking until eventually, with a little light above it, you see a metal door, small, in front of you. You've just arrived here with the leads. You found that the guard on this place is not what you expected. There are no guards at all, in fact, which you find suspicious, but there's no time to think about set thoughts. You don't know what lies beyond this door, but it looks important. What do you do?
Well, being desperate, he would just continue forward.
Find that the door is unlocked. And you sort of, while holding your brother, you reach out a hand, try to open it, and it creaks with a metal sound. but it is unlocked.
I would say Alexander doesn't open the door gently, like he unlocks it with his hand and like pushes it open with his shoulder, like violently.
The door flies open. What you see immediately is a strange sight. To the left of you, of this large-ish warehouse or chamber that you've walked into, there is a green glow coming from the left, sort of stairs that you walk down to a lower area. There's a greenish glow coming from the left, contrasted strongly by a reddish glow coming from the right side. The ceilings are high. Looking around quickly, you can see stacked high to the left, crates and crates of pure Uberite crystal. To the right, strange reddish crystal, also many crates of these. You see many glass pipes that flow through this space, and then your attention is taken to the large glass vats of green liquid on the left and red liquid on the right. They're absolutely massive, 15 by 15 feet easily. This liquid bubbles within them. In the center of the chamber, there are two operating tables. Behind them, a large cylindrical liquid container. Behind them, swirling the evil, eerie red liquid pipes connecting to both of these operating tables, and two bright electrical lights shining on each of them. The room is silent. Breathe heavily, catching your breath after running over half the city. It's empty. And it stays empty. Standing on the precipice of this room, what do you do?
Alexander walks up and puts Sergei down on the nearest operating table, and then he would walk past the operating table to the second.
First of all, you're quite a ways away from
Oh, okay.
operating tables. It's not like right in front of you, it's about
Oh, okay,
30
okay,
30
yeah.
feet away from you. So you're on the
Okay.
precipice, and there's just darkness in the room except for the two lights on the operating tables.
Alexander would, like I said, then he would start walking towards, well, more like jogging with the energy he has left, towards the first operating table to put Sergei down.
As you walk down those steps onto the ground floor of this room, you see movement. A red glint. Two of them, in fact, next to each other at eye length. Emerging from the shadows, with these 2 points of light clearly in the head of someone. A very young, like in his 20s, individual walks out with medium length, stark white hair, a scar going across his nose, wearing a white lab coat. Steps into the light. You don't recognize this individual, but he smiles at you. There is more movement. You look to the right. You step out, sort of just beside the left operating table. You look to the right, and there's also a glint of eyes reflecting light. They're reflecting sort of, actually no. The scientist guy would be on the right side. His eyes would glint red from the red on the right side of the room. And then on the left side, at a lower eye, height. A large figure steps out, his eyes glinting with green from the light of the eagle eye. This person, standing at 1.3 meters tall, with a large, bushy black mustache, almost to look like a pair of orange aviators on. Basically, it's like glasses that are tinted orange, but they like fade to nothingness as it goes up. If you know what I mean. He has a steampunk hat on and a lot of gears and things on him. A dwarven individual that you recognize. Argyris Zilberstein, the author of your ordinance. And he steps out and he goes, "Now, what do we have here?" "I thought you completely up and abandoned us and disappeared into the shadows, the underworld of this city. Oh, blood butchers, it is good to see you again." And he looks over at Sergei's corpse. "I'd ask what brings you here today, but I think it is quite obvious. You know the price that you pay, or rather, the price will be steep that you pay, if it is what I think it is. That's what you require."
Alexander will grit his teeth and just say, "Just bring him back." Like, as he says this, like it's kind of obvious that he's at the brink of, like, not crying, but like he's very emotional.
Yeah. Right, bring him back. What will give you the idea that we are even able to do that? And if we were able to do that, why do you think we would? I mean, first you run away from our organization and our noble mission. You were our best frontliners. Without you, we've had to resort to other measures. Your conviction made you able to withstand the excruciating process of augmentation, and the weak minds we have recently got have all but died when we attempted it. Why should we help you? You left us in a tight spot. Archambault had to douse many fires when you left. You left us wide open, and we had to scurry to find a foothold again. What traitors to the Crimson Door.
Like you already said, you need us.
That's what you would give us in return. Undying allegiance.
Alexander doesn't want to vocally confirm it, but he just stares him in the eyes and just gives a nod.
Well then, it is a deal. With this we can work. Put him on the right side table. You get on the left. And they stand back. The scientist dude also just taking a few steps back from the table. What do you do?
Alexander is a bit hesitant because he's confused at why he wants him to also get on a table. But he puts down Sergei and he walks to the right-hand side table and just looks at him and What do you want me to get on the table?
The scientist dude walks up. Well, when it comes down to it, resurrection is... the resurrection of someone is merely science. The power of bleed is quite immense, but I cannot guarantee anything. I myself am still quite unsure of its true capabilities. But this presents a unique opportunity. I've revived you before. And it is the catalyst, your blood is the catalyst to bringing your brother back. I suggest you do as we say.
Alexander doesn't really understand, especially the part where he says, like, he brought us back before. But he understands this is what is required to bring his brother back, so he reluctantly gets onto the table.
Now, and he begins working. He switches up. You hear the clicking of a few levers and switches, and the glass chamber just behind your operating tables, you've now been completely strapped in and restrained, begins whirring and bubbling just a few feet away from your head, but you cannot look upon it. You only see the flaring of red energy that reflects against the roof that you look upon now. Your eyes almost blinded by the white light of the operating table. Like I said, I've revived you before, but never like this. But I believe it is possible. The science of magic seems to harbor near limitless potential, and it just so happens that my good friend Argyris' designs are made to preserve and embolden even the bodies they are fused with. You see, the green energy that runs through those pipes of yours are nothing more than my early experimentation with Ulurani that I lent Argyris at the time, which in turn means it has spread completely throughout your bodies by now. Ironic, isn't it? Our two most adept mage slayers are powered by the same stuff that they are. Well, first we'll have to reconstruct this mess that Sergei is. Though you can rest easy, he's dead after all. So we won't feel a thing. Thereafter, we will infuse and activate the Ulurani that is already present in your bodies. Perhaps with time the Ulurani has seemingly absorbed you and your brother's life essence and tethered to it, as it is intended for. You see, you two are a unique case, a unique first draft of the immortal soldiers that we wish to create. We've never found someone quite like you, and we're still searching. It's hard to find someone as compatible with Ulurani as you two. After you left, we had to broaden our horizons, broaden our testing grounds, but we might, just might, be on the verge of a breakthrough with your return. And both of them say at the same time, our favorite test subjects. Now, you wish to save your brother, yes? Do anything you can to save your flesh and blood. And he looks at you.
Alexander will walk up to him, like, into his face. Says, yes.
Then strap him, and he points to the table.
Alexander turns around and he walks towards the table. He's fighting everything inside of him to go through with this, but what needs to be done to save his brother is worth any cost. So he gets onto the table.
As you get into the table, you hear the restraints fastening. Another doctor, the scientist with the white lab coat, is beginning to fasten Sergei to the tables. Then we hear distant footsteps coming in from the door. You came into scientists look. You almost crane your neck to look as well. Sergey, if you please explain what Sasha looks like.
I've got an image for you. I don't know. I'm gonna send it in the chat now, but I'll send it to you both
Just hit me up with
personally.
the word salad if you
Yeah. Okay. She is a fairly muscular but lean woman. He has dark hair, but with some red highlights in between. Has a few tattoos on her arms, piercings like on her eyebrows, and some nice eyeshadow to match. She has a very, I don't know, intimidating glare, I guess. Plus minus something like that I sent to you.
Does she have any augments on her?
Yeah, she does. So her, like I guess from her elbow, yeah, up from her elbow to like her hands are augments. But I think those would be the only places
Okay.
that she would have augments. Just both her forearms being replaced.
She struts into the room. And Argyris goes, "Ah, Sasha, this is quite a reunion, I believe." She walks over Sergei's corpse, looks down at it, almost with a frustrated and irritated scowl. After all these years, not seeing you, not even hearing from you, this is how you return to me. She walks over to Alexander's side. What happened? You know
Alexander.
This, you know this woman, obviously.
Yeah. Alexander just looks at her and doesn't want to answer her because he's ashamed that he wasn't there to protect his brother.
Tell me, Alexander, why do you keep putting yourself through this? They told me to keep it secret, but I assume that they have blurted out everything, and tomorrow you're going to forget it again. You keep dying. They keep bringing you back, and you just have more and more augments. Sooner than later, you're going to be more man than machine.
More machine than man.
More machine than man. So frustrated and angry. Do you think it is time to stop? At least be more careful. Not so reckless, just jumping in thinking that you're immortal. Because you're not. Time and again, I've watched you die. I've watched them dissect you. Bring you back with their fucking science, whatever this is. And she waves her hand at the red juices in the tank behind you. She sort of kneels down. Answer me.
Alexander thinks for a hot minute there because he would say that he has to do whatever is necessary to become stronger than the mages. But this is not why he's doing this. He's doing this to save his brother. And that's what he replies with. He just says he's doing this for him.
Miss Sasha, please, we are almost in session. If you'd leave, we've got important work to do. All right, you old bloat. We'll leave now. She just stays nearby. She looks over at Sergei. Did you mean what you said? Was just all connected to your little vengeance spree?
He's the only. Sorry.
Melkor?
He's the only family I have left. Yes, I meant what I said.
Ponders for a moment. Both change each time you go through this process. You don't even remember that you went through it the first time. You lose something of yourself. And I'm very angry to see Sergei fall deeper and deeper into that pit of rage to so willingly help him cultivate. What do you want me to do? Just sit around, watch this happen again? I'm sure after your last disappearance, you're gonna come out very different. The doctors are composed, they've lost patience. I fear that this time you'll no longer even have a room of your own.
What choice do I have? We tried to do it our way. We tried to leave. And look what happens. And Alexander points to Sergei's body. Now just get out so we can get this over with. And then Sergei sits down and lays on the bed and says, I have no choice.
Where have you been these last 3 months?
With a group that wanted to improve the city. They're called the HVC. Now get out.
Do you want to say that stealthily? Like, because she's quite close to your face.
Oh yes, yeah. That's what I thought. We were like in each other's faces. So
Yeah, no, she is quite close to you.
yeah. Okay, then it would say a group called the HVC, and he goes closer, and you would tell her the boss name that they're like on top of,
Yeah.
because I can't remember it right now.
Full
It's the third princess.
The Toad Princess. Ask for full on if you want. Now get out, he says loudly, as if to
Yeah.
like this.
Stands up and just hear a side whisper. Improve the city. And that's a thought. She almost scowls at that. Fine then. Give in to your petty revenge. Die 1,000 times again for all that I care. To frustrate, and she struts out of the room. You have a nice chat Argyris just sort of like looms over you.
Does it matter?
Not really. You won't even be able to remember the details of the last week's happenings. Sorry, part of the experiment. The two doctors begin to work. The one with the white lab coat inserts pipes into the arms of both Alexander and the lifeless Sergei. As he does that, Argyris begins to meticulously bending and removing some of the damaged armor plates. Cut away at some of the damaged flesh and begin to remove the damaged and ruined ornaments from Sergei and Alexander. Sergei, explain for us what it looked like a little bit when they removed the mask from your face.
The jaws dropped. Sorry, I have to.
No, yeah, it's a very ugly picture. Even with like the jaw and mask on, there was heavy scarring like around where the augments was. But with it removed, I think it's like there's barely any meat like on his jawbone. Like it has some red of meat, but it's like no natural teeth of his own, and yeah, just like pipes going down where his, I guess like the esophagus is supposed to be, I guess. Yeah. But it's a very gruesome and not pretty picture.
Argyris begins to work, bending metal, hear the whirring of instruments and forging of new augments as Alexander you look, your eyes struggling to stay open. What is happening to you and your brother reminds you of when you first got your augments. At that time to improve yourselves and make yourselves stronger, not knowing the true intentions of the doctors. The thought dawns on you that you have not only been used as powerful foot soldiers, but also as a first draft experiment by the doctors to create immortal soldiers. With this in mind, you are unsure what the Crimson Dawn would do to achieve their desires. They pledged to destroy the mobility, but it seems that was just a ploy to get you on their side initially. You have experienced what they would and could do. You're even more unsure of their true intentions now. Do they have goals at all, but to toy with the construct of life itself? You ponder these questions as the mechanical whirring and noises emanating from the operating table next to you lulls you into a frightful but forced sleep. An undisclosed amount of time passes as you go into unconsciousness. It's raining. The wet steps of your boots splash through the puddles of Missouri as you walk through the streets. This is a memory. You both walk alongside each other, maul and great axe in hand. And you're on your way to head off a certain transport vessel of some sorts, said to contain a large number of mages in training, apprentice wizards, apprentice sorcerers and the lot. And you have been tasked to eliminate all of them before they can become a problem. Make your way to the impasse, hide behind buildings and such, and you hear this carriage coming. You've become quite experienced with your work. You meticulously hide in the shadows, waiting for the carriage to pass. It comes closer and closer until eventually it is right next to you. There are greatest sorcerers and mages in this carriage, the bane of your existence. You have been tasked to kill them. This is what you do. What do you do as this carriage nears? Please explain this scene for me as recollected from both of your memories.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
I would say, at this point, me and Sergei have sharpened our mage killing abilities. And we know that you have to act fast and you have to act brutal. And we would have raged and basically fucking tackled the carriage on its
Yeah,
side.
like I think like the way we did with the walker, where we
Yes.
like ran into that and knocked it
To
over.
catch them completely off guard and by surprise. And then just fully engulf in our rage, just slaughter anything that looks like a human in front of us.
Crunching of bone, the rending of flesh, the horrified screams bellow out. But you know you're doing the right thing. It's the mages who betrayed you in the first place, is it not? This is why you joined the Crimson Dawn, to put an end to mages and nobility. They flaunt their power around. They're born with these natural gifts. And they throw everything else aside, including you two. But as the conflict ends, the shattered carriage laid to the side, bodies strewn about. As a recall from your memories, what have you just done?
I just want to say before we describe that, I think also while like Sergei was busy slaughtering anything and everything in front of him, something that definitely fueled his rage was just like the image of his mother and how she was mutilated by a sorcerer, and how they were forced to live the poor and wretched life they had to because of them. So that's definitely like that image keeps flashing in his head. That's all he can think about while he was killing them. But after the dust settles a bit, I think both are just like heavily breathing from the rage, adrenaline, and I think when they finally come to their senses, they see that it was in fact a carriage full of children that the Crimson Dawn sent them out to kill. And it's definitely not what they signed up for.
So okay, you look at your brother in this moment. What are you to do? You're in the middle of the city, everyone has about fled the space. You hear the distant sirens of the Grand Garrison as their walkers approach from other streets. You can't see them yet though, but in this scene, all of these small, lifeless corpses, what do you say to each other? What do you do?
I think Alexander would just look at Sergei with like utter and complete disgust. With not at Sergei, but at himself. Like
Yeah.
this,
So,
like he knew he hated mages and they deserved for him to die, but even this is too far. Because how he sees it is that he feels like he just killed a bunch of innocents. And he would just look at his brother, and I would say he would just bolt. Not knowing what to do, he would just try to run.
Yeah, I think Sergei would also just at first a bit like look at the blood on his like claws, and then at the mutilated bodies in front of him, and sort of get that 1,000-mile stare. I think like shit. Wisdom saving 13.
You keep standing there. You're frozen in place. Alexander, a few meters into the run, your brother is not behind you.
So, Alexander would run as fast and as hard as he could. I think he would realize that his brother isn't next to him, and he would try to see where he is. And I would say he would like first look back and see that his brother's just standing there, and then, even though he's utterly traumatized by what he's just done, brotherhood always comes first for him. So he would run back to get his brother.
He is frozen, unmoving.
Alexander would punch him through the face and just say, "Snap out of it! We have to get out of here!"
Yes. To the river. We can try and get away from them there. And yeah, I don't know, if maybe like one of the rivers are like close by, I think they would maybe try to run towards and the river and maybe try and like swim across or just lay low there for a bit. I don't know, just to get out of a public area.
You begin running. Do you look back at all, or do you just run?
No, Alexander would be too disgusted to look back.
I think Sergei doesn't look back, but he does definitely like look at the blood that is on his and Alexander's hands. Or like clothes as well, I guess it's everywhere. But yeah, he definitely looks at that and just tries to push it aside for now and to focus on getting away.
You run. Your destination, uncertain, other than getting away. Getting away from the Crimson Dawn, getting away from the Grand Garrison that is now completely beset the area. You begin running almost in a slow motion. The camera shifts to the sky. But instead of clouds, instead of the sky, you see the haggard and scraggly bearded face of Argyris Zilberstein with his orange spectacles, holding out massive operating tongs, almost reaching towards this world of this memory. And the voice says, "Ah, there it is, the root of your betrayal, your weakness, your sympathies for these children. Disgusting. There's no place for it in what we have planned. We need you to be obedient, immortal, and powerful. The perfect specimens so that the Crimson Dawn may rise upon this world one day. You are already two of those things. You have proven yourself to be powerful beyond a doubt, and you've died with you and come back. The both of you actually. What the fuck? How do I write the sentence? What the Udari throw into your systems will bring you back. but not without the loss of a memory here and there. A memory we extract to make you more into what we desire. This time, I shall take this one you both share, and one that has led to your disobedience. Another voice, the white lab coat scientist. Why don't you remember your past resurrections? Well, it's because we don't want you to. And it shall stay this way. And this time, you'll stay with us and help our noble cause. Memory fades, both of you black out.
I just want to add, it doesn't necessarily have to like be in the memory, but I think definitely like for hours, maybe like days, even like after that incident, he definitely just continuously like kept wanting to wash his hands, or I guess claws and stuff, to try and get the blood off. But in his mind, it's continuously staying.
So I'd imagine you continuously think that there is blood on your hands. Well,
Yeah.
thought. Because that
Yeah.
thought is erased now. What happened here was that the Ulari that flows within Sergei's body was reactivated by transfusing some of Alexander's blood to you, Sergei. Your whole body needed to be rebuilt, but the Ulari held onto the essence of your soul. You are the immortal soldiers that the Dawn created. But eerily, you are the immortal soldiers that the Dawn created. And eerily, with the help of them, if one of you were to die, the other can be used as a catalyst to bring them back. Perfect duo. But in turn you would change, lose memories. These memories are kept by the Dawn for good measure. It's a sort of bargaining chip against you. These are things that dawn upon you a few moments before you completely black out. At some point they were promised back to you once your duties were fulfilled. But in your strife before, working for them, you have doubted their intentions, and despite that which they have taken from you, you felt what they were doing was wrong. What they stood for is not what you thought. But now, the memory of your betrayal is all but gone. Your sense of self belongs to them. It is a dangerous game, altering memories of others. That's why they have done it in small part before. But this time they are desperate. In your final moments before, and in your final moments of being yourselves, Alexander, you understand the price you and your brother must pay for his continued survival. At this time, red clouds your vision instead of green, for they have been toying with the Ulari. And after the red bleed has flown through your bodies, a wisp of greenish energy is plucked from your cranium and stored in two separate glass chambers, labeled cognitive memories of Sergei and the other cognitive memories of Alexander. Sergei is rebuilt, and the soul which the Ulari in your body clung to is restored to its rightful place. You awaken after an undisclosed amount of time. Both your eyes flutter open almost at the same time. You're both laying on these operating beds, the restraints no longer holding you down. awake at exactly the same time. What do you do as the white operating light shines on both of you?
I think Sergey will look over to Alexander, like, I guess sit upright and then look over to him, and then just ask what happened. Look around the room.
Well, clearly we got knocked out in our previous mission.
And here I thought there's nothing we could handle. Nothing we couldn't handle.
And then Alexander tries to think back on what the mission was. But he can't. But he's like, nah, it's fine. He just obviously it had to be some type of head injury. It's fine, the memories will come back later.
Surprised you got knocked out of that metal head of yours.
You want to talk.
I'd say, is there no one else in the room?
There is someone else in the room. A large, tall, shadowy figure standing just into the room in front of an open door that shines light that runs his silhouette. Can't see any details, but it's just standing there.
Would we recognize this tall figure? Sorry.
Make a perception check. Are you still lying down on the operating beds?
And I would be like standing, not standing. I'm sitting straight up with like my butt on my ass on the table, but like my feet either if the table's too high, like hanging, or like on the floor.
Yeah.
As you sit up and the glare of the white light is no longer impeding your vision, you do recognize this man. The tall man stands in front of you. A long white beard, curling mustache, also white. Black leathery attire, all sorts of straps on it, mimicking a straight jacket of sorts. A high blood red collar that flows into a red cape that runs his face. He has black shades that he is wearing on his face. This is Arkambo. I will send you a picture of what he looks like.
Ah, bossman, what are you doing here?
Oh damn.
He looks over at both of you. What is your directive? Generals of the Crimson Horde? And you can see gathering around him, stepping from beyond the door that he came through. Manic-looking individuals, clad in black mingled with red straitjackets, their eyes beset with red veins, their mouths almost salivating.
Alexander like stands up, stands up and walks to him like casually and just like, what do you mean? Is to slaughter all the mages.
What it always was.
Like it always will be. Has been and will be.
Smiles. Good. Very good. And that is where we will end this little session of ours.
Damn it! Okay, cool.
Do we notice the changes to our augments?
Yeah, I literally wanted to ask.
yeah. By the way,
I wanted to ask this now, like
by the way,
after we.
sorry, I was just so focused on the little thing that I wrote here. As you stand in front of Orcambo, and both of you can do this because your organs have been damaged in the previous fight. Sergey, you more than most. You have to basically completely reconstruct. So let's start with Alexander first. Any changes that Argyris has made to your augments? You can describe what they look like.
Me, my green is now red.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
Fair enough.
I mean, I was healthy
He's a
before.
simple man.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm a simple man that likes a red. Okay.
Okay, and Sergey.
I think definitely my augments, their metallic plates are much darker than they used to be before. The red hue of the liquid inside the pipes shining through some of the spots, and my claws are a bit longer and a bit more jagged. They look more ferocious than before, and I think as I look down, I see that both of my like lower legs, so from like my knee down, were replaced with augments, which weren't necessarily there before. I think right now he's just thinking, oh, maybe, I don't know, maybe he lost it in the previous fight and they had to replace it or something. But yeah,
Okay,
that's the changes.
with those words, Orcambo looks pleased upon both of you. Just echoes. Good. Very good. And that is where we will end it.
Oh,
Wow.
very nice.
Sexy.